Lessons start again for some primary school children in England as the government begins to ease lockdown restrictions.
Millions of vulnerable people in England and Wales who were advised to stay indoors will be able to leave their homes for the first time in 10 weeks.
Good morning, welcome to Barnsley Markets, one of the outdoor markets in England that can fully reopen from today. But as traders return to their stalls, I'll have a look at what measures they're putting in place to encourage customers to do the same.
It's back. Professional sport returns in England, with horse racing and snooker the first to resume later today after a long wait.
So let's just remind you how the rules vary across the UK, because they do. In England, groups of up to 6 people from different households can now meet outside. Professional sport resumes today with horse racing and snooker. Car showrooms and outdoor markets are also able to reopen. And people who had previously been asked to shield at home will also be able to go outdoors.
In Wales, people from 2 households are now allowed to meet outdoors. Shielding advice has also changed, allowing more vulnerable people outdoors for exercise.
And in Scotland, groups of up to 8 people from 2 households have been able to meet outdoors since Friday. Advice for schools, shops and people shielding at home hasn't changed.
And in Northern Ireland, there's no change to the rule that groups of 6 can meet outdoors. Vulnerable people being asked to keep following existing shielding advice. And the Queen has been photographed riding in the grounds of Windsor Castle over the weekend, one of her first public appearances since the coronavirus lockdown began. She's
pictured on one of her ponies called Balmoral Fern. The Queen, who's 94, has been living at Windsor Castle during the lockdown with Prince Philip.
It was a beautiful, beautiful weekend, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
Gorgeous. Almost sort of cruelly gorgeous, because you can't enjoy it as we normally would at normal time of year.
Absolutely. It was absolutely lovely. People flocking to beaches and everything else. Should we have a quick look at the front pages?
Let's do that.
That is reflected on some of them, at least. The Times, though, leading with a warning from travel firms that the 2-week quarantine due to be imposed on people arriving to the UK from next week will destroy the industry. There's also a photograph of the Queen. As we just said, it's one of the first times she's been pictured since the beginning of lockdown.
Well, she'd be a bit hot, don't you? She's boiling yesterday. She's got a coat on or something. Let's go to the Guardian's front page, which says that 1 million children are set to stay off school today amid safety fears. That's their front page headline. The paper reporting scepticism from some parents, from teaching unions and councils that schools are returning too soon, they say.
The lead story focuses on Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab's comments that cities may be locked down in order to prevent a second spike in coronavirus infections.
There's an interesting survey here, the results of which are in the Telegraph this morning. It's something that we kind of know about anecdotally, isn't it, from talking to our family, friends and neighbours over the last few weeks, but this has put some numbers on it. It's a survey that's been partly supported by the National Lottery, which says that more of us, twice as many of us, are now chatting to our neighbours, the people who live around us, as a result of the pandemic. And it talks about setting up community WhatsApp groups and that kind of thing, helping one another, delivering, just to get us started. If there's any silver lining out of this very dark cloud, that would appear to be it.
Is that happening where you are?
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Definitely.
I've even had a phone call from a neighbour at the weekend. I don't know why they phoned me. I mean, I do live near them, but anyway.
I was covering the Clap for Carers for BBC One last Thursday night. We were in Gloucester. We were in a little cul-de-sac, and there was a gentleman there. He lived on this cul-de-sac for 56 years.
I didn't know.
There were some other people, 50 yards away, who'd lived there for about 40 years. He didn't know their names, didn't know them to talk to, and now they're best mates.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it?